All right, welcome back, everybody. Yard by Yard, episode 48, mega episode, Thanksgiving episode. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you. I know there's people probably driving right now, people sitting in an office job. I'm doing the exact same thing. Um, we got some good ball to talk about. We got some good ball to preview. Got even more better ball to preview. That's what I'm looking forward to this week. The preview is going to be great. I've got our recaps of games from the weekend, playoff situations for college football and NFL, and the games that we have Thanksgiving weekend, like rivalry weekend, is the best weekend in all of sports. I will always say it. Rivalry weekend in college football is the best. You have the Iron Bowl, you have the game, you have we used to have Bedlam. Um, Now we got Georgia, Georgia Tech, Texas A&M, Texas, Vandy, and Tennessee is now a good rivalry game. Like we have so many great rivalry games. The Egg Bowl is going to be I think a frisky game to watch this year. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be awesome. It is the most fun. Um, but first, we're gonna get into our recap, and then I'll get into previewing that weekend. All right. First thing that we have. First thing we got college football. OU 17, Missouri 6. I saw this from the beginning. The OU defense just manhandled Missouri. Held them to 6 points. Bo Perbula surprised me, and I thought he was out. He played this game. He was 20 of 36, 231 yards, zero touchdowns, and two interceptions. It was again the defense for it was the defense for Oklahoma just manhandling them. I mean the defense played really good. I mean the time of possession, like they didn't even have they had the ball longer than Oklahoma did, and they didn't do well on third down. They were 3 of 15 on third down, 300 total yards. They ran 71 plays, 4.2 yards per play. I mean, you outgained Oklahoma here. You did offensively, but you weren't able to capitalize because Oklahoma really stood strong in the defense. You have a blocked field goal here for the Oklahoma team as well. Oklahoma is a team that I've talked about it a lot. John Mateer is looking more and more like himself since that hand injury. I think he came back way too quick playing against Texas, but he's had a couple of good games, a really good game last week against Bama. And now, you're looking at a 9-2 Oklahoma team that go ahead and you go win this LSU game this weekend, and you've got yourself a really good spot here in the playoffs. And you got a lot of momentum because this is a defense that I don't think a lot of people are talking about enough that you don't want to play. We talk about not wanting to play Ohio State's defense because they have the best defense in the league, but the Oklahoma defense is phenomenal. The Oklahoma defense, especially against the run, is very good. And all they do is they just make a quarterback's life hell, and they've done it every single game. The only game they haven't done it was Ole Miss and then Texas. So I am very confident on Oklahoma and really just the defensive side of the ball. The issue with Oklahoma is they don't really have a running game. Your running game is John Mateer. John Mateer ran the ball 18 times in this game with 60 yards. Now passing, he was not great either. 14 of 30, 173 yards, but he had two touchdowns. Only not completing a great percentage of balls right there on his passes, but with a defense as good as Oklahoma has, he doesn't have to do a whole lot, right, to win these games. This defense is going to keep you in these games, and you just got to have to make one or two plays to win this game. And he won 17-6 here. Satanga has been a really good receiver for Oklahoma as well. He had three receptions, 109 yards, and one touchdown. He had that one really big touchdown. And yeah, I'm just big on Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma's defense is one that is going to stand out and is going to make people second guess going against this team. I mean, look, are you going to have confidence going up against Oklahoma offense? I would, but the Oklahoma defense is not something that you can just gloss over. The Oklahoma defense is very good. They're a very good defense. All right, next game. We had the game of the week, Oregon 42, USC 27. USC officially, I would say they're officially knocked out of the playoff race. Who knows what you're going to see, but I think they're officially knocked out. Oregon, huge statement win for you here. Statement game for Dante Moore. Dante Moore, 22 of 30, 257 yards, a touchdown and an interception, and running the ball, too, with Noah Whittingham. He had 19 rushes, one touchdown, and 104 yards. And they really just outgained They did. They outgained USC. This game really looked like it was going to be a kind of a shootout here for both of these squads. And shout out to Oregon and their defense, especially for answering the bell here and be able to play really good football. In offense, you outgained in time of possession, you outgained USC. You held them to only 7-16 on third down. That's what really messed you up too. It was a pretty even game stats wise. I mean, total yards, USC had 382. Oregon just had a little bit more with 436. So I mean, this was looking at it on the stat sheet, this is a close game. But really, what it came down to were these two interceptions from Mavia, and these two interceptions were killers because it was in a situation where you're thinking, okay, I think USC might be able to get back into this game. No, actually, this game's going to flip, and Oregon's going to take a bigger lead and make it just a bigger hole for USC to climb out of, and makes you kind of double, second guess this USC offense, an offense that's been playing really good. And maybe it's not a second guessing of the USC offense. I think maybe it is okay, this Oregon team is legit. Like, they have the loss against Indiana. A lot of people haven't been talking about them that much. You go into Iowa and you escape with the win, but Iowa's a good team. So that's an impressive win for Oregon. And throughout all of this, it's Dante Moore has been the one consistent guy with the offense. He's been playing really well down the stretch. He even played well in that Indiana game. They just got out physical by Indiana in that game. And I think, I think this is the difference that we see in the Oregon this year and last year. Oregon was the number one team last year. They didn't face, the toughest game they had was at home against Ohio State that they won because the clock ran out. I think that we are seeing a different Oregon this year because they've already seen that loss. Dan Lanning's teams are built like Kirby Smart's teams in the way that they can, react and be resilient and just beat the hell out of somebody. And I think getting that loss early in the year for them is going to be huge for them going, into the Big Ten championship, which actually they won't even make it because it's going to be Ohio State and Indiana. But going down the season, going into the college football playoffs, I think this Oregon team is going to be able to go on a run. I could see this Oregon team winning the national championship because they're very resilient. They play like Georgia does this year. So you can see that Dan Lanning has identically built this Oregon team to be like Georgia in that resiliency aspect of it. But just a really good game from Oregon, really good game from Dante Moore, and really good game running the football. It was a very complete game that Oregon had, and it helped them get the win and, put yourself in essentially a lock in the playoffs. You just gotta beat Washington this week, which Washington has been a frisky team, but this Oregon team is just playing really good football right now. All right, last game. Pittsburgh 42, Georgia Tech 28. The game from Pittsburgh was just a week late. We all thought we were going to get this last week, and they went and they played Notre Dame, but no. This game was out of hand quick. It was 21-0 in the first quarter for Pittsburgh. Now Georgia Tech did come back, and Georgia Tech made this, one-score games at points. And then there's a situation there on the goal line where it's Hayes King throwing the ball that, caused an issue here. You had situation on the goal line where you have a chance to, tie that. I think they were going to either tie the game or get within 14. They were going to tie the game, and he throws a pick six, a horrible pick six. They take it all the way back 100 yards. Then they go up big. Pittsburgh does, and this has kind of been Georgia Tech of the past couple weeks. They have been playing with their food. They've been, playing with fire, and you can't do that. You can't do that against a Pitt team who has been, playing some good football this year. Did they play a bad game last week? Yes, they did, but that's college football. That is the college football this year. Someone is going to beat somebody that they shouldn't every single week. It's what happens. So it's not shocking to me at all because of how inconsistent Georgia Tech's been playing. Now you look at it on the playoff aspect, Georgia Tech still has a chance to get in here with the ACC. The ACC is in an insane race for first place and to get to the ACC championship right now. I don't know how it's going to play out. SMU is also still in this thing, so it's going to be really interesting to see what happens here after this weekend and see who we are seeing in Charlotte there for the ACC championship. Georgia Tech, though, you're still not completely out of the playoffs too. You have 2 losses, and if you can go and beat a top ranked Georgia team this week at home, that is huge and bolsters your spot for the playoffs, of course. And then if you win the ACC, you're already in. So I think that's huge for Georgia Tech. I think Georgia Tech has a chance here. Maybe it's good that you had the loss going into Georgia because you've been playing with your food. You've been playing with fire. You get that loss, and now you kind of reassess yourself, get yourself back on track, and you can potentially try to beat a good Georgia team. I don't know if it's going to happen though. I'll get to that in the preview. But good win for Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh got a win too late. I'm excited to see what happens with the ACC. Pittsburgh is now in the first. Pittsburgh's now first in the ACC. So I don't know what's going to happen. I really don't. I think the ACC is one of the most wild conferences. I think the ACC. We're going to look at this and be like, well, shit. Like these teams aren't good. And yeah, they aren't good. None of the ACC teams are good. No one thinks they're great. The one team that's being sneaky good for them, though, is SMU. Watch out for SMU and Kevin Jennings. That offense is playing really well. But, yeah, good one for Pittsburgh. That's a tough one for Georgia Tech, but you got to get back on track this week if you want to have any chance of having a playoff. All right, now into the NFL. Bears 31, Steelers 28. The Bears keep doing it. I don't know how they keep doing it. They have not played great teams down the stretch. They've been in games where they've seemed like they're going to lose it, but they win. They win. I don't have much to say about this one other than Mike Tomlin. I feel like he probably should have kicked the field goal there at the end. And Caleb Williams has just been playing his ass off. Caleb Williams, 19 of 35, 239 yards and 3 touchdowns. DJ Moore, I've been talking about it for the past 2 weeks. DJ Moore showed up, 5 receptions, 64 yards, and 2 touchdowns. It is when you're able to see more offensive weapons with the Bears getting opened up that, okay, we're starting to see more of this Ben Johnson offense that we were getting used to in Detroit. Now, he doesn't have a Jahmyr Gibbs or a Amon-Ra St. Brown. I don't know why my hair is doing that if you're on Zoom watching. But you're playing great. They're playing great. Even Luther Burden got in the action here. Rona Doomsday, he was targeted 9 times, only 3 catches, but 53 yards there. Colson Loveland has also been a huge, bright spot for the Bears. And he's not getting talked about enough because Tyler Warren is over there and the Colts playing an amazing game, like probably rookie of the year now for the offense because Ibuka, got hurt and having some not great games. Colson Loveland was 4 for 49. He had 4 catches for 49 yards and a touchdown. They're playing really good. And the Steelers are kind of, it seems like they're hanging on by a thread because now you're not first in the AFC North anymore. The Ravens are back up the top. We knew the Ravens were going to go on this win streak and reclaim the top spot in the AFC. Now we have the sorry, can't talk. Now we have the Steelers, who their defense is playing great, but the offense is just very inconsistent. And I think a lot of it's the play calling. Look, you got Mason Rudolph back there. I don't have all the trust in the world in Mason Rudolph, but you got to have someone back there who could play a little bit better. So, just not too impressed with the Steelers right now. I think the Steelers are probably worried too, because they got a tough schedule coming up, and you're now not the first in the AFC North. So, but big win for the Bears. Bears have a big game coming up this week against the Eagles on Black Friday. That'll be a really good game. All right, next game. Chiefs 23, Colts 20. They did it again. I should have seen this coming, but I was pretty confident. I mean, they were down 20-9 at one point, okay? I think a lot of us thought, oh, okay, the Chiefs this isn't looking like the same Chiefs. I think the Colts are going to pull this one out, and, maybe Luke's right. Maybe they are just not going to make it this year. I was thinking that. Because they weren't playing well. But in reality, they still have that in them. The Chiefs still have that factor to win in them. They still have, that mentality where they can just flip a switch and win a game like this and make the plays we need to. Rashid Rice is going to be open every single time. It seems like on a big 3rd down or 4th down. Even Kareem Hunt got in the mix. Kareem Hunt, who we have not seen really be great the past couple of weeks, ran the ball 30 times with one touchdown and 104 yards. And Rashid Rice didn't even have a touchdown, but he had 8 catches for 141 yards. This was a great Patrick Mahomes game after a game last week where he did not play his best. He didn't, and he came out in this game and he was 29 of 46, 352 yards and one interception. The interception was that kind of like tip drill interception that Latu had. Daniel Jones was 19 of 31, 181 yards and two touchdowns. But the big part of this game is where Shane Steichen gave up. Shane Steichen stopped running the ball. In the second half, he ran the ball 2 times with Jonathan Taylor. It might have even just been once. On the day, Jonathan Taylor had 16 rushes for 58 yards. Now, is that the conversation you can have is that more credit to the Chiefs defense, or is that bad play calling and being conservative? I think it's probably a little bit of both. I think, look, the Chiefs defense with Chris Jones has been, is good, and they're able to stop the run really well. But I feel like if you give it to Jonathan Taylor enough, he's gonna break one loose and fight for the tough yards. Inability to get the first down for the Colts was not great today either. The offense was just inefficient, and any Colts fan would tell you that. They were inefficient moving the ball down the field. In the red zone, they made made the opportunities happen. But look, any Colts fan would tell you like this is a big game that you lost, and it hurts because you felt you had them. You had them 20-9. You just had to make one play to win, but you didn't do it. So tough situation here for the Colts. I think the Colts will be fine. I think Daniel Jones will be fine. But this is one of the type of wins that the Chiefs need to get back on track and see if they can make a playoff run. Now, the Chiefs do have a very tough schedule coming up, and the tough game that they do have coming up is Thursday on Thanksgiving, and it's going to be with the team we're talking about right now, the Dallas Cowboys. They play the Dallas Cowboys on Thanksgiving on Thursday. The Dallas Cowboys, I was saying it a couple weeks ago, let's watch out for the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys have a semi-easy schedule, except for the Chiefs. They got semi-easy schedule. They won 24-21 against the Eagles. You're down 21-0, and then the game just flips on its head with 2 back-to-back turnovers. The fumble with Saquon Barkley, and then the fumble with Xavier Gibson. I don't know why you're taking that ball out of the end zone there, Xavier Gibson. But the Eagles looked like they were fully in control of this game. In the first quarter, they went up 21-0. The offense was humming. Jalen Hurts was just in stride with A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown had 8 catches for 110 yards and a touchdown. Devontae Smith was playing really good as well. They were just spamming A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, and it was working. It was working. But then all the turnovers started happening, and not being able to run the ball happened. I'm going to look this stat up. With Saquon Barkley, they ran the ball only 10 times and got 22 yards. His longest run was 7 yards. That's not something we are accustomed to and used to be seeing with the Eagles, and especially with Saquon Barkley. That was a big surprise to me. I was very shocked when I saw that. But I think it really just speaks to the pickup of Quinnen Williams on the Cowboys defense and Overshown coming back. Overshown's been, a huge force for them since he's come back. It's only been 2 games, but you can see there's a difference there, and the defense is playing a lot better. The offense with the Cowboys is you can't talk about them enough. It is an electric offense. CD did have a couple drops. He didn't look great, but you have George Pickens, who played out of his mind this game. He had 9 catches for 146 yards and a touchdown. And Dak Prescott, like I've said it I said it earlier this year, he's playing one of his best seasons he's ever played. I don't think people would disagree with me on that. He was 23 of 36, 354 yards, 2 touchdowns and an interception. And look, the Cowboys are alive. Now their playoff chances go up to 17%. Now look, your next 2 games are hard, but after that, you got a winnable schedule. Now you play the Chiefs on Thursday. You go to Detroit. That's going to be a tough game. They play back-to-back Thursdays. That's crazy. And then you're at home against the Vikings, home against the Chargers, at the Commanders, at the Giants. So realistically, there should be 3, maybe 4 wins there. Maybe even 5 if you can beat the Lions or the Chiefs. I think the Cowboys can beat the Chiefs right now. I really do. And we're going to get into that preview here in a second. But first, we're going to do college. We're going to get into the college. But wrapping up this game, impressive win by the Cowboys. Watch out for the Cowboys. I think they could potentially make a push for the playoffs here. The Eagles need to get the run game figured out. I think this is going to look like a situation like it did a couple years ago when they just were bad at the end of the season. They need to get that run game figured out to, get back in the win column here. All righty. Who do we have next? We'll go into our preview. We have Saturday. No, we have Friday. This is Friday. A lot of great games. We have games Thursday. We have games Friday. We're going to get into college first, like we always do. Number 4, Georgia, and number 10, Georgia Tech. This is a really good game. Georgia's a 13.5-point favorite. The over-under is 59.5. I think Georgia is going to win this game. I know I was talking about Georgia Tech a little bit earlier, but I don't feel too comfortable with Georgia Tech, especially after that loss. And it's a part of that too is mainly that Georgia just looks like a totally different team right now. We are seeing a Georgia as of the past couple of years that wasn't consistent and wasn't playing at a dominant standard. Compared to now, I compare this team more to the 2021-2022 Georgia football teams who were very dominant, who were winning every single game by about 40. And I think we're about to see that here in this game against Georgia Tech. Now, rivalry game, is it going to be a blowout? I don't think so. But I think they're going to win by, 2 to 3. I think they'll win by 2 scores. I think that's definitely what will happen. I think the over will hit in this game. I do like the over. But this is a really, for Georgia Tech, you have to win this game. If you win this game, you're back in the position of the playoffs. You're back in the, potentially, depending on how things play out in the ACC, you could be back in, the ACC championship picture. You have 10 wins here in the season. Great season for Georgia Tech. Remember, Georgia Tech was one of my teams I predicted to go to the playoffs. But we're going to see what happens. But I'm taking Georgia. I think Georgia is a different beast this year, and I wouldn't be surprised if Georgia, wins this game by multiple scores. God, I am exhausted. Sorry, guys, if there's a yawn in there. All right, next game. Also Friday. Texas A&M minus 2.5 at Texas. The over-under is 51.5. I am very excited about this game. Texas, being a underdog of 2.5 points, I really like. Arch Manning has been playing a lot better the past couple weeks. I've been talking about it, but he has been. He's been playing better. The Georgia game didn't look great, but he got back on track against Arkansas. On the season, he's 2,700 yards, 23 touchdowns, and only 7 interceptions. Marshall Reed's 2,700 yards, 25 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. Now, here's the big thing that a lot of people aren't talking about, and, it's been talked about a little bit. It was talked about when Texas A&M was losing to South Carolina, but I think now it's going to get talked about even more because I think Texas is going to win this game. Mainly because A&M has not been tested that much. And, we want to look at all these games and be like, oh, LSU, at LSU, that's tough. Oh, South Carolina, they should have killed South Carolina. That, they had to come back and score 31 points to win that game. You shouldn't have had to do that. Florida sucks. Auburn's bad. Honestly, Auburn gave him the toughest test of any team outside of Notre Dame, but of any SEC team, Auburn and South Carolina gave him the toughest test. Auburn is not good. South Carolina's not good. We'll get to Auburn in a little bit with the Iron Bowl. It's going to be an interesting game, but they haven't played anybody. They're all their opponents in that they've won against. I mean, Arkansas was their toughest game. They only beat Arkansas by 3 points, and if Arkansas could have gotten a stop, Arkansas wins this game. You played Auburn, Mississippi State, Florida, Arkansas, LSU, Missouri, South Carolina. I mean, the bottom of the SEC. You're not playing great teams in the SEC. And I think we're going to see it get a little bit exposed here because the Texas defense is legit. The Texas defense is really good. We need to watch out for the Texas defense. They're ranked 7th in the country in rushing yards, allowing only 92 per game. Points allowed, they're ranked 20th, allowing, about 20 a game. Now, passing yards are not great. They're 105th. They allow 243 a game. The secondary really needs to step up there. But you go up against a Texas offense that averages, 38 points per game, ranking 10th in the country. I think this Texas defense can make enough plays to win this game. I do. I think they do. And I've got Texas winning this one. It's going to shock the world. Texas A&M will still be in the playoffs, and it'll be fine. But Texas, there's going to be the conversation there for Texas. I'm just letting y'all know if they beat Texas A&M, these conversations are going to start happening, and it's not going to be fun. Just a warning. Just a warning. All right, next game is Ohio State at Michigan. Ohio State is a 10.5 point favorite. This is Saturday. Now we're into the Saturday games. Ohio State is a 10.5 point favorite. This is the game. This is game day. This is the game of the year. Of course, Bama, of course, Michigan has beaten Ohio State 4 years in a row. This is a year Ohio State is, on their high horse and they're just killing everybody. And I think it continues this game. I think this is the game that Ohio State is just like, the past 4 years against you have been absolute hell. And your quarterback, your freshman sensational quarterback, has thrown only 9 touchdowns this year, 5 interceptions. Our quarterback, Julian Sayin, has thrown for 2,800 yards this season, 27 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. He is 79% completion percentage. Now, I know they haven't played anybody. I know. But the dude's been insane. And part of it, too, is I haven't really watched them that much, and I need to watch them. I'm going to watch them this weekend. I'm excited to watch that. But I think Ohio State's going to smoke them. I think this is not even going to be close. I think Ohio State's going to drop 35 on them because I think the Michigan defense, this is just going to be a just back-to-back 2 scores, and then the Ohio State defense, too, is phenomenal, a bunch of monsters, and I think they're going to just destroy them. I've got Ohio State winning this one. This one won't be close. All right, next, pretty good game. Vandy at Tennessee. Tennessee is a 2.5 point favorite. Over under is 64.5. Going to be a lot of scoring in this one, is what everybody's thinking, which I like, but also, I could see his defensive battle. I want Tennessee to win this one just because I'm tired of Diego Pavia. 2,900 yards, 26 touchdowns, 6 interceptions on the season. He's been playing great. But Joey Aguilar's been playing really good as well. 3,100 yards, 23 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions. Bishop has been good running the ball for Tennessee, 143 rushes with 12 touchdowns on 886 yards. And, Stowers has been the leading receiver for, this Vanderbilt team with 56 receptions, only 4 touchdowns, and 701 yards. And the rushing leader for Vanderbilt has been Diego Pavia with, 661 yards and 8 touchdowns. So I think this is going to be a really good, really fun game for us to watch. I think what's going to be really fun about this game is that these teams, a lot of people don't really talk about how much as these teams hate each other. And I think we're going to see it now since Vanderbilt is good again. A big storyline about this game, too, is going to be what's Clark Lee doing. Clark Lee is going to be, I think he's going to start getting pulled from teams. I think he's been a head name out there for a bunch of these teams, to go and get Clark Lee because he's a guy, he's shown, obviously, he's been able to build Vanderbilt up to be good. Let's not just act like this is, that's not going to happen. Clark Lee did go to Vanderbilt. He loves Vanderbilt. But if anybody throws a bag at him, I think he'll take it and run with it. Watch out for Penn State. Watch out for LSU. There's a lot of teams that might be able to do that. I think Tennessee is going to win this game, though. I think Tennessee's been playing really good this year. I think Tennessee has, been underrated. They lose Oklahoma in a game they should have won, and they'd be still in the playoffs if they didn't lose that game. But they still can score a lot of points. They still have been playing really good football, and I think that's going to continue this week. I think the defensive side of the ball for Tennessee is going to play really good too. That's one thing that we aren't really talking about a lot about Tennessee this year is their defense, because their defense has been playing really well, even after losing James Pierce from last year. But I've got Tennessee winning this game, and Pavia's Heisman hopes are gone. All right, we are getting there. I am super tired. All right, Bama minus 5.5 at Auburn. Over-under is 48.5. The Iron Bowl. I am a little biased here. I think the Iron Bowl is the best college football rivalry in all of college football. When both these teams are great, this is awesome. And then you have a situation like this game, where Bama's a 5.5 point favorite, going to Auburn, playing under the lights. This is the first time this game has been played at night in a very long time. It's at 6:30 on ABC. Auburn has nothing to lose. They don't. Bama has everything to lose. Everything. A Kalen DeBoer in Alabama season that was looking promising, like you are going to potentially win the national championship, you now go into Jordan Hare, a place that is not the easiest place to play in the world ever, against your bitter rival, a team that would love to ruin your season. And if Alabama loses this game and they lose to a bad Auburn team, Alabama could be out of the playoffs. And I think they should be out of the playoffs because that's a Florida State loss and an Oklahoma loss and an Auburn loss. The Florida and Auburn losses, bad losses, bad losses. The problem is, I don't think Auburn's good enough to do this. I don't think Auburn is good enough to win this game. I wish I thought they were. I hope I'm wrong. But Alabama's going to win this game. Ty Simpson, had a bad week against Oklahoma, and he played the Oklahoma defense that's one of the best in the country. Auburn has a good defense, but I don't think they're at that level. Now, what could change here in this game is Auburn is starting true freshman quarterback Deuce Knight, who had an incredible game last week, or this past weekend against Mercer, running for multiple touchdowns, throwing for multiple touchdowns. If this guy can provide a spark and show he's the real deal, and he does it against this Alabama offense, you gotta keep Deuce Knight. You can't get rid of him, Auburn. 1. 2, the running quarterback versus an Alabama defense curse is still alive and well. And that's something that if you grew up watching the Nick Saban teams, every time they played a running quarterback, they struggled. So I think there's a chance here it could happen, but I'm not super confident with Auburn. I'm not, and they haven't been playing great. And, I'll say this, they've been playing better. They haven't been playing great this season. Yes. But since they fired Hugh Freeze, that offense has been playing really good. I don't know, I'm holding the mic for this thing. I don't know why. Their offense has been playing really good. Cam Coleman, I say it every week, throw the ball to Cam Coleman every single play. He's got only 5 touchdowns on the year, 52 yards, 682, 52 receptions, 682 yards. Keep throwing him the ball. Throw him the ball every single play, Deuce Knight. And Deuce Knight can run the ball very well. So I think you get that going too. And, maybe there's a recipe for winning a game there. But I think Bama wins this game, and they're going to lock up that playoff spot there for Bama. And I need to refresh my mind on what the situations are for the SEC championship. But I think Bama definitely still has a chance. So we'll see what happens, but I got Bama winning that one. All right, we're almost at the end, guys. NFL. We're at NFL. We're going to start with the Thanksgiving games. Packers at Lions. Lions are a 3-point favorite. Over/under is 48.5. I had the Lions winning this game. The Lions at home are very good. The Lions, by themselves, their offense is, insane. Jahmyr Gibbs is insane. Amon-Ra St. Brown's insane. I think they're going to play really well in this game. Now, you're going up against a Packers defense who has been playing, maybe the best defense of anybody of the past couple of weeks here in the NFL. Statistically, they rank, what does this say right here? They rank second in the league. No, statistically, they rank fifth in the league, giving up an average of about 18 points per game. Fifth in rushing, sixth in rush yards with 96 a game, and fifth in passing yards with 197 per game. But the offense of the Lions is the second best in the league in points, averaging 29 a game. Rushing yards led by Jahmyr Gibbs, 139 a game. And passing yards are ninth with 252. The inconsistency of the Packers offense against a struggling at times defense here for the Lions is going to be something really interesting to see. Is Jordan Love going to be able to get back on track in this game? Is Jordan Love going to be able to look like himself again? Because, look, he played bad a couple weeks ago, and he didn't play phenomenal this past week. I think a huge part of why they beat the Vikings is J.J. McCarthy's horrible, and the Packers defense, Micah Parsons, has been playing really well. So, to feel more confident about the Packers going forward, I need to see more out of Jordan Love this week, and to feel more confident about the Lions, I need to see more out of Jared Goff and the offensive line. I need to see the offensive line be able to see that they can protect him more, because you played against the Giants defense last week, who the Giants defense was holding their own against them and playing really well. So I've got the Giants. I've got the Lions winning this one. I think it'll be a close game, though. I think it'll be a close game. It'll be a fun game. All right, next game is Kansas City at Dallas. Kansas City is a 3-point favorite. The over/under is 52 points. I'm going Cowboys. I'm going Cowboys, guys. I think the Cowboys win this game. I think the Cowboys are moving with incredible momentum. I think they're all playing for a cause too, and I mean playing for their why can't I find the words? Their teammate who they lost. I mean, they've been playing excellent ball, and you can see he's a driving force out of the motivation for the team. They're holding up his jersey, his flags. It's really awesome to see. They're playing really good. They are. They're playing really good. I can't get over how cool the flags are that they have of Nealon. I think Nealon is his name. I hope I'm getting it right there. But it's really cool. It's very cool to see, and it's really cool to see how this team has rallied behind that and how close they were together and how close they are. I think this is what's going to drive them to win this game. But I also think the defense playing really well too, and the offense is being unstoppable. The Dallas Cowboys offense is playing at an incredible rate right now. I mean, also you go up against a team like the Chiefs who struggle, against sometimes who struggle in the secondary. I think we saw, the Broncos were able to have success for them, but in the passing game, the Cowboys are first in the league, averaging 276 yards per game. Points, they're fourth with 29 a game. And rushing yards, it's where they're not the best, but they still have Javonte Williams who can go out there and rush for 100 yards if he needs to. And they average about 120 a game. So this is a Dallas Cowboys offense that's just playing at a phenomenal pace, a phenomenal rate. And they're a very, very just impressive team. And I just feel a win streak coming here for the Cowboys. And a lot of this, too, is Dak playing really exceptional at the quarterback position. But also the defense is starting to step up and play a little better. So I have the Cowboys winning this one. All right, last two games. Black Friday, Bears at Eagles. Eagles are a 7-point favorite. The over/under is 44 and a half. I am excited about this game. I think this is going to be a very good game, a very fun game to watch. Offensively, we have the Bears, who are second in the league in running the ball, averaging about 142 yards per game. And you go up against an Eagles defense that, in points allowed, they're eighth in the league, averaging 20 given a game. And rushing yards are 19th with 115 a game. So we've been watching this Eagles defense the past couple of weeks, and they've been playing really well. But the statistics aren't showing up there for them because they're still in allowing, a good amount of yards per game, running the ball and throwing the ball and scoring. But a lot of that too, in my opinion, is the secondary with Adoree Jackson. He is the main guy that everyone's picking on. You have Quinyon Mitchell on the other side who's been playing really good ball. Cooper DeJean's playing really good as well. But the defensive line and the secondary, not the defensive line, the secondary around Adoree Jackson is not help, and it's obviously a target where everyone goes. I mean, it seemed like George Pickens was at Adoree Jackson almost every single play, and that's how he was having so much success. And I think we might see the same situation here with the Bears and DJ Moore or Caleb or Colson Loveland here in the middle of the field playing tight end. Or you also have a situation where I think we're going to see a lot of Rome Odunze in this game. Rome Odunze has been quiet the past couple weeks. I think Rome is going to play really good this game, and I'm excited to see it because I love Rome Odunze. I think he's a great player. I am going to take the Bears in this game. Now, the Eagles coming off a loss, that is scary to go, pick against them, but there's something about the Bears. They just know how to win these games, and it's a situation like the Broncos. Like the Broncos know how to win these games, and it's impressive to see. So I am going to take the Bears here. I think they're going to win this game. All right. That is it. Oh, I had one more. Bills at Steelers. I don't have a ton to go into about that one. We're going to take the Bills. I think the Bills are, going to get on a little streak here for a second. And I think it starts here against the Steelers. A Steelers offense and defense that's not, playing its best right now. I could see the Steelers defense, though, making this a game like they did against the Colts. And they just kind of dominate and they beat the Bills. But I think the Bills are going to wake up here. I think Thursday night was a wake-up game, And I think we're going to see Josh Allen play a lot better. The one worry about the Bills, though, is just this defense. If the defense can, play semi good, I think they'll be fine. But the defense, we have not seen that. So that's what we're all looking for out of the Bills defense. And but I just feel like they're going to be able to win this game. I think this is going to be a get right game for them, and I think they win this one. All right. What an episode. I have lost my voice pretty much. I appreciate everybody listening. I hope everyone has an awesome Thanksgiving. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. It means a lot. I appreciate it. John, I'll get you on the podcast next week. Just totally forgot to give you a call today. My bad. But looking forward to watching some games this weekend. Hope everybody has a good Thanksgiving. And as always, enjoy the football.